Hey everyone, ready to nail those tech interviews? You've prepped algorithms and data structures, but what about those tricky non-technical questions?
Ah, yes, the dreaded non-technical questions.
Well, in this deep dive, we're going to break those down and give you the tools to really impress.
You know what's really interesting about these questions? They're about way more than just cultural fit.
Okay, so it's not just about liking the same music as the hiring manager. What's the bigger picture here?
These questions are like a sneak peek into how you think and how you handle challenges.
So they're trying to figure out if you'd actually thrive in their company's unique environment.
Exactly. It's about figuring out if you're a good fit for their specific world.
Got it. So it's not just about fitting in, it's about showing them you've got what it takes to really contribute and grow with them.
It's about showing them you're not just technically skilled, but also someone they'd want to work with, someone who can bring something special to the team.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So beyond cultural fit, what are companies really looking for with these non-technical questions?
They're looking for those all-important soft skills, how you think beyond the code, and if you can handle the ups and downs of a real-world workplace.
So it's like a glimpse into how you'd function as part of their team, not just how well you can code in isolation.
Precisely.
All right, now that we've uncovered the why, let's dive into the types of questions you'll face. There are a ton of variations out there, but let's focus on the most common ones, the ones that really make a difference.
Sounds good. Let's start with those behavioral questions. You know, the ones that ask you to tell a story.
Oh yeah, like tell me about a time you failed, or tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult teammate. Those always make me nervous.
I hear you, but remember, these questions are actually a chance for you to shine.
Really? How so?
It's your opportunity to showcase your skills and experience in action.
Okay, so it's not just about saying I'm a great communicator or I'm a problem solver. It's about proving it with real examples.
Exactly. Paint a picture of how you handle real-world situations.
Got it. Stories, not just claims.
You got it.
So behavioral questions are at the top of the list. What else should we be ready for?
Well, next up, you've got situational questions, which are kind of like a mini case study.
Okay, so less about past experiences and more about showing them how you'd tackle a new challenge.
Yeah, exactly. They might ask something like, what would you do if you found a huge bug in your code right before launch?
Oh, wow. Or how about how would you handle multiple urgent projects with conflicting deadlines?
Exactly. It's all about seeing your decision-making process in action, how you think critically under pressure.
It sounds like they're really trying to see how your brain works, even when things get tough.
Absolutely. And even if you don't have the perfect answer, walking them through your logic and how you'd approach the problem is what matters.
This is making me realize those non-technical questions might be even more revealing than the technical ones. It's not just about code, it's about who you are as a thinker and a problem solver.
It's about connecting with them on a human level, too.
Okay, we've got behavioral and situational questions down. What else is out there?
Next up is all about your motivation and your career goals. They want to know what makes you tick, what you're passionate about, and if your dreams match up with their vision.
Oh, so like the classic, where do you see yourself in 5 years type questions.
Yeah, you'll probably get those, but there might be some less obvious ones, too.
Interesting. What kind of questions should we be thinking about?
Well, a good one is, what motivates you in your work? That one goes deeper than the usual answers.
I like that. It forces you to really think about what truly matters to you in a job and what kind of environment brings out your best.
Exactly. It's not just about getting any job, it's about finding a place where you can truly thrive.
And companies are looking for that passion, that drive. They want people who are genuinely excited to be there.
They want to know you're invested in what they're doing.
This is making me rethink my whole approach to interview prep. It's not just about memorizing answers, it's about doing some serious soul searching.
It's about figuring out what makes you tick and how to articulate that.
Okay, so we've got behavioral, situational, and motivation-focused questions. Anything else?
There's one more category that can feel a bit random but comes up often. Problem-solving and analytical thinking questions.
You mean those brain teaser questions, like how many golf balls fit in a Boeing 747? Who comes up with this stuff?
I know, right? They can seem totally out there, but there's a method to the madness.
There is.
Companies use these questions to see how you think critically, how you break down complex problems, and how you find creative solutions, even when faced with something totally unexpected.
So it's not about knowing the right answer. It's about showing them you can think on your feet.
Exactly. Show them your thought process, your ability to stay calm under pressure, and your willingness to tackle a challenge head on.
I'm starting to see those brain teasers less as scary monsters and more like interesting puzzles.
They're a bit like puzzles, aren't they?
It's not so much about the destination, it's about the journey of figuring it out.
That's a great way to think about it.
Okay, this deep dive is already shedding so much light on what's going on in interviewers' minds. I'm feeling way more confident, like I can approach those non-technical questions strategically instead of just hoping for the best.
That's what we like to hear.
Wait a minute, there's one more question type we haven't touched on yet. Teamwork and collaboration. That seems super crucial in tech, where you're always working with others.
Absolutely right. Teamwork is huge E for tech companies, and they want to know you can collaborate effectively, communicate clearly, and handle those inevitable bumps in the road that come with working on a team.
I've definitely heard some tricky questions in this category, like, tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult team member, or how do you handle disagreements within a team? Those always make me nervous because conflict is just part of life, and I don't want to seem like I can't handle it.
I think everyone feels that way to some degree. But the key is to be honest and authentic while also showing you can handle those situations professionally.
So instead of pretending I've never had a disagreement with a colleague, it's better to share a real example of how I navigated that situation and what I learned from it.
Exactly. Focus on the positive steps you took to resolve the conflict. Turn a potentially negative situation into a chance to show your maturity and communication skills.
I love how this is all coming together. We've gone from feeling intimidated by these questions to seeing them as an opportunity to really showcase who we are and what we bring to the table.
And that's just the beginning. Now that we understand the questions, we can start digging into specific strategies to answer them effectively.
Stay tuned, because in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to reveal those strategies and give you the tools to craft compelling answers that'll really wow those interviewers. All right, I'm ready for those strategies and tactics you mentioned, the secrets to acing these non-technical interview questions.
You want to feel prepared and confident, ready to handle anything they throw your way, right?
Exactly. Give me those tools.
Okay, well, one powerful technique that's super popular is the STAR method.
The STAR method, I've heard of that, but I've always been a little intimidated by acronyms.
It's really not as complicated as it sounds.
Okay, well, break it down for me. What does STAR stand for, and how does it work?
STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result.
Okay, I see. So you're basically setting the scene, explaining what you had to do, describing what you actually did, and then highlighting the positive outcome.
Exactly. It's like telling a mini success story, but make it super focused and relevant to the question.
This is making me realize I've probably been approaching those behavioral questions all wrong.
How so?
Instead of just saying, I'm a great problem solver or I'm a team player, I need to give them a specific example, a story that shows how I actually embody those qualities.
You got it.
Okay, I'm starting to see the power of the STAR method, but it'd be great to see it in action, an actual interview scenario.
Sure, let's say they asked that common question. Tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult team member.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
A typical response might be something vague like, oh, I'm pretty good at conflict resolution. But with the STAR method, you can turn that vague response into a memorable story that showcases your skills.
Okay, let's hear it.
In my last role as a project manager, we were up against a tight deadline, and one team member was consistently missing deadlines and not communicating well, which was putting a lot of pressure on everyone else.
Yeah, I've been there.
So I took the initiative to schedule a one-on-one with them to figure out what was going on.
That's a great first step.
We discovered they were feeling overwhelmed and a little lost with some aspects of the project, so I helped break down their tasks into smaller chunks, offered more support and resources, and made sure we had a better communication going forward.
So you identified the root cause of the issue and took concrete steps to address it.
Exactly. And as a result, their productivity improved, they felt more confident, and we were able to launch the product on time.
Now that's what I call a happy ending.
Right. It's specific, it highlights your leadership skills, and it has a positive result.
STAR method. You've officially won me over. Okay, what other game-changing strategies do we have?
Another big one is active listening.
Active listening. That sounds pretty basic.
It is, but it's crucial. You'd be surprised how many people miss the mark here.
So it's not enough to just hear the words they're saying.
It's about being present in the conversation and showing them you genuinely care about what they're saying.
How do we do that effectively?
Well, first off, body language matters. Make eye contact, nod along the front. Use those nonverbal cues to show you're paying attention.
Okay, beyond body language, what else can we do?
Before you jump into your answer, take a beat to really digest what they've asked. Maybe even repeat the question back to them or ask for clarification if something's not clear.
That shows you're thoughtful and that you're not just waiting for your turn to speak.
Exactly.
Oh, and it can help you avoid those awkward moments when you realize you've gone off on a completely irrelevant tangent.
We've all been there.
Active listening, got it.
Yeah.
What else?
Authenticity is huge. Companies, especially experienced interviewers, can spot BS a mile away.
So no more trying to be someone I'm not or giving those generic cookie-cutter answers I found online.
Be yourself. Let your real personality shine through. You're not just trying to impress them. You're trying to figure out if this company is a good fit for you too, right?
It's a two-way street, for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, authenticity it is. What else should we keep in mind?
Don't forget to really showcase your problem-solving skills and not just having the right answers, okay?
Oh, right. You mean like with those brain teaser questions we were talking about earlier?
Exactly. Remember, they're more interested in your thought process than the actual solution.
So even if I'm completely stumped by a question like, how many golf balls can fit in the school bus? I shouldn't panic.
Right. Just walk them through your thinking. What factors would you consider? How would you break down the problem? Show them you're resourceful and not afraid of a challenge.
So instead of just saying, I have no clue, I could say something like, well, first, I need to know the dimensions of a school bus and a golf ball. And then I might factor in some space for, seats and stuff. Then I might Google it or ask a friend who's good at math.
Exactly. See? You're showing them you can think critically and creatively.
Okay, problem-solving skills check. What else?
Prepare relevant examples beforehand, okay? Don't wait until you're in the hot seat to try and remember stories that demonstrate your skills and experience.
So no more awkward silence as I desperately try to recall that one time I successfully led a team project.
Right. Before the interview, take some time to think about your past experiences. Jot down some key stories that highlight your strengths, achievements, and how you've overcome challenges.
It's like prepping my interview arsenal with stories.
I like that.
Okay, what else?
Research the company. And I don't just mean skimming their website the night before.
Going deep, got it.
Yeah, really understand their mission, their values, their recent projects. You know what excites you about what they do. How do your skills and experience match up with their goals?
That way I can give a genuine answer when they ask, why do you want to work here?
Exactly. Show them you're genuinely interested, not just applying to any job that pops up.
Okay, company deep dive. Check. What else?
Don't underestimate asking thoughtful questions. It's a two-way street. Asking insightful questions shows you're curious and engaged. Plus, it helps you decide if the company is actually a good fit for you.
I always struggle with this one. I get stuck on the basics like, what's the company culture like? Or what are the opportunities for growth?
Think about what genuinely intrigues you about the company. Did a specific project catch your eye? Do you have questions about how they approach certain challenges? Don't be afraid to show you've done your homework.
So instead of a generic question, I can say something like, I read about your recent sustainability initiative, and I'm really passionate about that. Could you tell me more about how that's being implemented within the company?
Now, that's a question that shows you're thinking deeply and you've done your research.
I'm loving this proactive approach. We're not just passive candidates, we're active participants driving the conversation.
That's the spirit. And honestly, the more prepared you are, the more confident you'll feel, and that confidence will definitely come through in the interview.
Okay, so far we've covered the STAR method, active listening, authenticity, problem solving, preparing examples, researching the company, and asking good questions. But even with all that prep, we're human, we make mistakes. What are some common pitfalls to avoid so we don't completely sabotage ourselves?
You're right. Even with the best preparation, there are a few traps to watch out for.
Okay, let's talk about those traps. What should I be on the lookout for?
Rambling. It's so easy to do when you're nervous.
Oh yeah, I can get going and then totally lose track of where I was headed.
The key is to be mindful of how you're responding and make sure you're directly answering the question at hand.
So stay focused, stay relevant.
Exactly. Think quality over quantity.
We're rambling, got it. What else?
Being negative, especially when talking about past experiences.
It's tempting to vent about a difficult boss or a frustrating project, but I can see how that would backfire.
Right. Instead of dwelling on the negative, focus on the positive. How did you overcome the challenge? What did you learn?
Turn those negative experiences into growth opportunities.
Exactly. Show them you're resilient and that you can learn from your mistakes.
Okay, negativity, check. What else?
Lacking specific examples, it's easy to fall into the trap of giving generic answers like, I'm a team player or I'm a hard worker. But those statements don't really tell them anything.
They need proof, not just claims.
Exactly. Always back up your statements with concrete examples and stories.
Okay, stories and specifics are key. What else should I watch out for?
Not showcasing growth. When you're talking about past experiences, especially challenging ones, be sure to highlight what you learned and how you've grown as a result.
So it's not enough to just say, I messed up. I need to show them how I turned that mess up into a learning experience.
Right. Show them you're self-aware, you can learn from your mistakes, and you're constantly striving to improve.
Okay, I'll make sure to sprinkle in those lessons learned moments. Anything else?
One more thing. Don't forget to adapt to the company's culture. While it's crucial to be yourself, also try to demonstrate how your values and work style would mesh well with their environment.
So do your research, read the room, and show them you'd thrive in their specific world.
You got it. It's all about finding that balance between being authentic and showing them you'd be a great fit for their team.
Wow, this is really eye-opening. Interview prep is so much more than just rehearsing answers.
It really is. It's about self-reflection, research, and strategy.
Absolutely. Speaking of practice, what are the best ways to actually hone these skills so I can feel confident putting them into action?
Mock interviews. Find a friend, a mentor, or an interview coach and have them grill you with those common interview questions.
It's like a dress rehearsal for the big show.
Exactly. You can get feedback, practice your delivery, and work out those jitters in a safe space. Another great practice tool is recording yourself answering common questions.
Oh, I don't know about that. I hate watching myself on camera.
I know it can be a little awkward, but it's so helpful.
I guess it would be like seeing myself through the interviewer's eyes.
It can really help you identify areas where you might be rambling, using too much jargon, or where your body language isn't quite matching your words.
Okay, maybe I'll give that a try. What else?
Consider joining interview prep groups. There are tons of online communities and local meetups where people gather to practice their interview skills and support each other.
That sounds like a great way to get feedback and build confidence.
And finally, don't underestimate the power of reflection. Regularly take some time to think back on your professional journey.
What have I learned? What are my strengths? What are my growth areas?
Exactly. The more you reflect on your own path, the more prepared you'll be to articulate those experiences in a compelling way during interviews.
This has been incredibly valuable. I feel so much more prepared to tackle those non-technical questions.
I'm glad to hear it. And remember, practice makes perfect.
Oh, I was just about to ask about practice. What are your top tips for really honing those skills and feeling confident putting them into action?
Well, first up, mock interviews. Grab a friend, a mentor, or even a professional interview coach and have them pepper you with those common interview questions.
It's like a dress rehearsal for the real deal, right?
Yeah.
I can practice my delivery and get some feedback.
Exactly. And you can work out those interview jitters in a safe environment. Another great technique is recording yourself answering common questions.
Oh, I don't know about that. I hate watching myself on camera.
I know it can feel a little cringy, but trust me, it's super helpful.
Okay, I guess I can see how it would be beneficial. It's like getting a glimpse of how I come across to others.
Exactly. It can help you catch things you might not even realize you're doing, like rambling or using too much jargon.
Okay, maybe I'll give that a shot.
Oh.
What else?
Consider joining an interview prep group. There are tons of online communities and local meetups where people gather to practice their interview skills and support each other.
That's a great idea. It's like having a cheerleading squad for my interview prep journey.
I love that. And finally, don't underestimate the power of reflection. Regularly think back on your professional journey.
So take stock of my skills, my achievements, the lessons I've learned along the way.
Exactly. The more you reflect on your own path, the more prepared you'll be to articulate those experiences in a compelling way during interviews.
This has been incredibly helpful. I'm feeling so much more equipped to tackle those non-technical questions.
I'm glad to hear it. And remember, practice makes perfect.
Okay, we're back. Ready to wrap up our deep dive into those all-important, non-technical interview questions.
I think we've given everyone a lot to think about, haven't we?
For sure. But before we go, let's do a quick recap of all those great tips and strategies we've uncovered.
All right, so first, remember, those non-technical questions are about way more than just cultural fit.
Right, they're about showing companies who you really are, how you think, how you solve problems, and how you'd fit into their team.
Exactly. And we talked about all the different types of questions you might encounter, from those behavioral and situational ones to those focusing on your motivations, problem solving, and teamwork skills.
Oh, and we can't forget those brain teasers.
Right. And we armed you with some powerful strategies like the STAR method for structuring your answers and why active listening and authenticity are so important.
And of course, we talked about those common pitfalls to avoid, like rambling, being too negative, and forgetting those all-important specific examples.
We want you to go into those interviews feeling confident and prepared, not tripped up by things you can easily avoid.
So how are you feeling about tackling those non-technical questions now? Ready to rock those interviews?
I hope so. And remember, sometimes it's those non-technical questions that can really make or break your interview.
Whoa, really? Why is that?
Acing the non-technical part shows companies you're not just a coding machine, you're a well-rounded person who can collaborate, communicate, and bring something special to the team.
It's like the secret sauce that sets you apart from all the other candidates.
Exactly. It shows them you're someone they'd actually want to work with, someone who can contribute on multiple levels.
Any final words of wisdom for our listeners as they head off to conquer those interviews?
Go in there with confidence, be yourself, and let your personality shine through. You've got this.
And remember, it's not just about them evaluating you, it's about you evaluating them too.
Yeah,
Make sure it's the right fit on both sides.
absolutely. Good luck, everyone.
That's it for this deep dive into mastering non-technical interview questions. We'll catch you next time.